So how do you find singers and guitar players and drummers for your worship team band? I think churches big and small wrestle with that question every single day. And we're here at Life Church to learn more about how they find worshipers who build worshipers. Hey, it's Dave Dolphin at practicalworshipblog.com, sharing ideas, tips, and practical advice for the everyday worship leader. And today we're here at Life Church Central with Jeff Hall. He's on staff with the Central Worship Team, and one of his primary responsibilities is to help find potential new members for the worship teams.
So for those of you that don't know about Life Church, we're a 21-year-old church. We're multi-site, so that means we have campuses in multiple places. We started in Oklahoma, but now we have 26 physical campuses in 8 states. Prior to being on the team here for the last 2 years, I've been a professional musician and lived all over the country.
So I know a lot of teams all over the place really struggle with trying to find musicians for their bands, and churches big and small, I think, really wrestle with this. I know that we do at our church, and for Life Church that's breaking into new cities that currently they have no presence in. I mean, how do you get into a new city and find the people for the worship teams?
I learned how to do it just really from just the need to survive, just personally, as somebody who's lived in large markets in places that I didn't know anybody. I just tried to connect with the professional musician network. That can include guys that play at or that are part of a local mom and pop music store, or at a lesson studio, or even a recording studio. Those are the places I start first.
Okay, so you're in the record store or the recording studio, and you're talking to whoever. Like, what do you do next?
I'm trying to find one person. For me, I typically start with the drummer, because the drummer will likely know who their friends are that they're able to come and play. So bass player, guitar player, they're my first starting point. So that drummer may not be available, but he likely knows 2 or 3 or 4 other guys that would love an opportunity to get to be a part of something.
So you mentioned the recording studio and the record shop and places like that. What are some other areas you might go look for new talent?
Other places include like schools, high schools, or colleges. You're going to want to talk to band teachers and maybe college professors. They're going to obviously have a bunch of students and people that are looking for opportunities. The biggest thing that you want to remember in this whole process is that as you ask, you got to be willing to continue to ask and continue to ask. So when someone says, no, I can't help you, or no, thank you, or I'm busy, or I don't want to do it, any of those kinds of things, just say, okay, so I understand you can't do it. Would you be willing to give me another name or number, or someone else I can reach out to?
Yeah, you get like drill down like this is the first call, which, they say, I can't do it, but you might talk to so-and-so, right. And then you talk to the next person, and then all of a sudden you get to Bob, but it took like 3, 4, 5 phone calls to get there.
Absolutely.
Have you ever tried like a Craiglist ad or things online? Has that been real beneficial to you?
Craiglist has been something it's obviously out there, and it serves a great purpose for a lot of things. For me, I still really believe that knowing people is the point of entry for me able to find the right person for the position. So as you continue to look and ask questions and do those kinds of things, I think being able to walk into a place or have a phone conversation with somebody is where I'm going to exhaust all of those methods before I try to do anything else.
Well, and you're trying to get into those networks. Yeah. Like you're not just trying to find someone, but you're trying to get into those already established networks of where those musicians are, because if you can find one, you might be able to find several.
Definitely. You have to be willing to go where the music is. Music's happening in your town, in your city, in a variety of different locations, in restaurants and in bars and in pubs and speakeasies and songwriting nights. All those things are happening, and musicians are all going to be there. So as a church, when we started years and years ago, we had to go into the pubs and honky tonks and those locations to find players that were, that could fit and do what we needed them to do. Now, that was a ministry for us, and I'm not saying that that's what you should do or should have to do, but it's an option that exists in every major city, in every major town. There is going to be music happening. So your willingness and ability to do that, I think, is going to yield something, or could yield something that is a great benefit to you and your team.
Man, I really appreciate you taking a couple of minutes letting us pick your brain. For more information, Life Church actually has a really good resource for churches of any size that is really beneficial, I think.
Yeah, it's called Open Network. So it's open.life.church. The website's full of just incredible free content. There's over 1 million pieces of content. There's a forum piece of that where you are going to interact with the community folks. And it also has blogs and recording stems and a ton of music. And so there's just a ton of information in there to help equip you and arm you to be able to make really great choices on your worship team and your worship sets.
Well, that's good stuff. I really appreciate you taking a couple of minutes and hanging out with us.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Here at Practical Worship, we love sharing ideas and tips and practical advice for the everyday worship leader with videos just like this one. Sometimes you talk about gear reviews and what you might use in your ministry. Sometimes it's about planning center, getting organized. Sometimes it's just leadership and how do you lead your teams. But we have new videos that are uploaded every single Tuesday here on the channel. So if you haven't already, consider subscribing. Also, if this was beneficial to you, it might be beneficial to someone else that you know, maybe someone you connect with on Facebook and Twitter and places like that. Consider sharing the link out on social media. And for more great practical advice about leading worship, check out practicalworshipblog.com.